Good evening. I'm going to call this meeting to order, the public hearing. We're turning it over to who, Lord?
I can do it. So welcome to board. This is our annual public meeting where we get to hear from Ms. Bolte and information from the paper report. So we'll turn over to Ms. Bolte and begin our public meeting this evening.
All right, good evening, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Versta. So today we're talking about our annual public meeting. This is the meeting we have once we have received all of the final reports from TEA for the year. So they put out a number of reports throughout the year, and once we get our final report, we have this public hearing. So there are a number of items that we'll be covering today. We'll be going to start with the taper, which is a Texas Academic Performance Report for 1920. Then we'll be talking about the PEIMS Financial Report, our Accreditation Status, Campus Performance Objectives, a report on violent or criminal incidents, for student performance in post-secondary institutes, and a little bit about the Glossary. So we're going to start talking about the taper, and one of the things I want to make sure that you're aware of with the taper is that because we did not test STAR last spring because of COVID, most of this data has not been updated. So it's the same data you had last year when I did this report for most of this. Okay. So the taper, the Texas Academic Performance Report, is compiled using our PEIMS data and our student assessment data. And they publish it two different ways. They have it online, which is very interactive, and that data comes online as it's released from TEA periodically. And then they have the PDF version, which we refer to as the paper taper. And that's the one that we use to fulfill our statutory requirements, and we're using tonight. Okay. All right. So on there is a cover page. As you look at your taper, you have the cover page, and it has our rating. And this year, because there was no testing, all districts and all campuses received the same rating of not rated, declared state of disaster. And then on the district taper report, you have our special education determination status, where they use the taper, and they also use the reliable data analysis report, RDA. And then the next piece you have on the cover page is our report on ASVAB. And it's only on the district's taper, and it's only reported if we did not do ASVAB. And we do offer ASVAB, and because of COVID, we did have to ask for the waiver for our spring testing. And then if we would have had STAR, there would be distinction designations. But with no STAR, there's no distinction designations on the cover page for the campus or the district. Okay. So after the cover page, then it goes into STAR performance. And again, no testing, so no change to this data. It's exactly the same as it was last year at this time. But it does break it out by approaches, meets, and masters for every assessment, every subject, and all subjects combined, and then each grade by subject. And then it talks about academic growth that's calculated for the reading, 4 through 8 in English 2, and the math for grades 4 through 8 in Algebra 1, and that's reported by grade and subject. Again, no testing, so it's the exact same data as we had last year on the taper. The next part of the taper goes into prior year and student success initiative information and our bilingual education, English as a second language, STAR performance, and our STAR participation. And of course, again, no STAR, so no changes to these pages either. Then it goes into attendance, graduation, and dropout rates. Now this is data that lags in time. So this actually has been updated on the taper. So you're seeing the 2018-19 school year and the 2017-18 school year for our attendance rate, dropout rate, and our different graduation rates, 4, 5, and 6-year rates, and our graduation profile. The next part of the taper goes into our CCMR categories. And again, this is lag time data, so it was updated. So you're seeing It's been updated since 1819, so you have 1819 and 1718 school years. So you can see our graduates that met a CCMR requirement, and then it breaks it down by each of the different possible ways they could have earned that point, either through CCMR or other post-secondary indicators. Then the next part it talks about is student information, staff information, and program information. And that is for the 1920 school year, because that information would have come from PEAMS. So that information has been updated in your table. So that's all the different pieces of the taper. If you have any questions about that data, most of it is exactly the same as it was the previous year.
The best place to find that online, if you go to the TA website, for me, go from the A to Z, go down to the T's, and it's listed right there, a hyperlink, and it takes you right to the paper for all the districts in Texas. It's searched by Southwest, ISD, and it'll come up and give you the whole kind of working page, I believe, report as well. It's pretty interactive.
Yes, the interactive one is very nice. If you want a paper taper, we do post the paper taper directly on our website. Okay, so the next part of our public hearing is I'm going to have Mr. Chris come up and talk about the financial data.
Part of the reporting, the annual reporting, is to share our data, our PEAMS data that we submit to the state. They collect all our enrollment and our demographics, and then they were able to take our financials and they integrate them all and they compare us to the state. The unfortunate part about this is they use our 2 years ago data. So for this report, they actually used 18-19 data. And so when you look at our 18-19 data, it's not a true picture of where we are today, but at that time period, it compares to the 1920 school year as far as the academic side. And so when you look at it, you're going to be able to see the revenues and expenditures that we spent that year. You're going to be able to see our fund balances in the taper report, and you're going to be able to see our tax rate that we had that year. They go even deeper per campus. And so when you go into the system, you're able to break down, and I gave you a sample of the district one, so you can kind of see where we are and how we compare to the state on our expenditures. You approve the budget by function, and so they compare the function compared to what the state spends on that function. Although they also break it down into programs like special ed, career and technology, and so you're able to see what we spend dollar for dollar compared to the state average. You're also able to look at our tax base and see how we compare to other districts across the state, whether they're receiving foundation funds or they're receiving tax money. And that's broken down for us. They even go a little deeper throughout the taper report for the financials. They'll break it down by campus. So you're able to go in there and you're able to put in Southwest Elementary, see the financials for Southwest Elementary for 18-19, and then you can compare that to maybe a Hidco or to another campus across our district. And so this is what this report shows, and so this is our report on that. I don't have any questions on the financials. Most of the stuff you get when we do our district audit, and then as we go through the budget. This is kind of the end of the year report on our final expenditures, our final revenue, but this is for 18-19. And you have to remember in 1920 we had House Bill 3, and so those finances changed a lot. We got a lot more revenue, and we had more expenditures because of that. And so next year, when we get to the 1920 financials, when we do this report next year, you're going to see there was a big difference between 18-19. Questions? All right, thank you.
All right, so the next piece that we need to talk about is our district accreditation status. So TEA has 4 different accreditation statuses that they assign to each district in the state, and it is assigned based on academic accountability ratings, financial accountability ratings, data integrity, and then program area deficiencies that might have been identified through the results-driven accountability or RDA. So our district's 1920 accreditation status is accredited. The next part to talk about is the campus performance objectives. And of course, every campus develops a campus improvement plan, and the goals are brought to the board for approval. And they have those performance objectives based on data analysis and needs assessments. And they periodically measure their progress toward those objectives, and all of the updated CIPs, of course, can be found on our website. The next part of this report is our report on violent or criminal incidents. So I believe Adrian Ramirez should be hopefully online so he can speak to this part.
Yes, good evening. Section 5 of this report has district staff report on violent or criminal incidents. Texas Education Code Section 39.306 requires each district to publish, as part of its annual report, a report on violent or criminal incidents that have occurred at each campus. This report must include the number, rate, and type of violent or criminal incidents that occurred at each campus to the extent permitted under FERPA, and descriptions of school violence prevention and violence intervention policies and procedures used to protect students. The report must also include findings from evaluations that may have been conducted under the Safe and Drug-Free Schools Communities Act. The district's report for the 2019-2020 school year is available for review at our district central office and at each campus within the district. The next 2 pages actually detail or give information about the violent or criminal incidents that occurred during the 2019-2020 school year on campuses within our district. For that particular school year, we did report 1 incident of sexual assault or aggravated sexual assault against a non-employee that occurred at Legacy High School. And we did also report another incident or an incident of indecency with the child that occurred at Resnick Middle School. And again, these are during the 1920 school year. There are no other reports looking at the second page of this particular section. There are no other incidents that were reported for any of the other campuses. Are there any questions?
No. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. So the next part of our report is how do our students do when they leave us? It is a report on student performance in post-secondary institutions. So this is compiled by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, and it is for the class of 2018 graduates and how they performed the following year in either the fall of 2018, spring of 2019, or summer of 2019. And you can see our total graduates from Southwest High School class of 2018, how many went directly into a 4-year public university, how many into a 2-year public university, how many into an independent, how many were not trackable, so they didn't have a social security number that could be tracked within the Texas higher education system, and then how many were not found in a Texas Institute of Higher Education from our total. And then you have the GPAs for the 4- and 2-year public universities. So the last part of it, there is a glossary that goes over the paper and explains the different terms and resources and methodologies, and that is available. It's available in English and Spanish, and we will post a copy of that on our website also. And then if you have the district's paper will be posted on our website. You can go to southwestisd.net and click on accountability notices, and that takes you to all of our accountability postings that are required by the state. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact myself, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. So are there any questions at this time?
Not found. What is the main reason for not found?
They could have gone out of state, or they could have chosen not to go to college. Both those answers go in the not found. They weren't found in a Texas 2 or 4-year college.
And is it they're not responding to our survey, or?
But this is from the Texas Higher Education Coordinator
Okay.
Board, so it's not part
So
of
it's
our
not
survey.
something we send out?
Right, it's not something we
Okay.
send them. It's something they gather and give back to us.
Interesting.
If there's no other questions, that does conclude our public hearing.
Okay. At this time, are there any public comments? Has anyone requested to speak?
Would they speak up, Roger? Is anyone who's attending virtually, are they able to?
They would raise their hand.
Okay. So if anyone's online, they would just indicate with the raise your hand icon, and then we would introduce them if there's public comments. Anyone in our audience, I know staff, senior staff, this is a public meeting.
That's all that's on right now, sir.
That's all that's signed on right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's something else. No, sir, we don't have nobody right now. So,
Okay.
No hands up, no. Okay.
Doesn't look like there's anyone with a virtual hand raised or in our room again.
no, sir.
Do you have
Did
anything?
you all want Ms. Bolte to highlight, the report that follows this paper report for the annual meeting? It's the same report specific to Southwest ISD data that Bolte went through last year. I don't know if there's any questions that you have on that, if you wanted to go run through that. A
No.
lot of numbers, and guaranteed we make you crazy by the time we get to the end of the report.
If we're making a guess, you think next year we'll probably be hearing a report going back, what, 2-3 years now?
So the state has said we will take the test, and so we will have data, but we will not get a rating. So all of
okay.
these reports will be updated with however many, whatever students choose to come to our campuses and take the assessments.
So we're taking a test, but it's not counting.
It's not counting towards a district or campus result, but it is being used for diagnostic purposes for individual students. We also know that there will be a number of students or families who do not choose to come onto a campus to participate. And so we're having those conversations about how we're going to contend with that. But every district of the 1,140 school districts in Texas are having those conversations with TEA as well. We're in a different situation now, but I know that we're going to use some of this for diagnostic. We're also participating in the beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year assessment to see how to monitor education loss and what we can do about that moving forward, as well as the system. So we're using that data as well. But for the purposes of paper and offering districts a letter grade, that will not happen this year either.
What about the secondary? Are we still collecting data on the secondary after they finish school? Will we have, like in 2020, are we going to collect that data still too? Will we ever see that data?
Specific to the state assessment?
To the secondary after they leave? to higher
For-year
learning?
college, second,
Yeah.
2-year college.
We will be collecting the data from the Higher Education Board. Yes. That's where this data that Ms. Bolte referenced comes from. They try to match up the IDs of students who are leaving school systems, going into higher education. So if you go outside of Texas or if you join the workforce, then they don't find those data. And so those are students who are indicated not attending either a 2 or 4 year system of higher education.
And the other thing, for the students, also for our high school students, is it will still be a graduation requirement. That is something that we go through conversations, even with the commissioner, it has been something that has been questioned. But right now, our high schools are working with also the seniors that have not passed the end of course. So it is still a requirement.
Okay. Any other questions? No, thank you.
I would like to make a comment though. I'd like the board, if you have time, one of the issues, being here a long time, when we always looked at data, comparable data, and systems change over time. But when you look at the district compared to the state, I remember that once upon a time back when our goal was not to be 2 digits behind the state. So our goal was to be within the state of 9% or less. And there are a lot of areas where our district has outperformed the state. which I think is a point of pride. There's a lot of opportunity for growth, and there's areas for improvement. But I think we also need to celebrate that we're in a different position now. And I went through earlier today and I just compared our district result to the state result. And there are very few areas where it's double digit. And there are more areas than I've ever seen before where we actually outperform the state in certain grade levels, certain content areas. And those are things to build upon. And so I think, I want to commend the staff who are working with our students, who are working with our teachers, who work with our students, who work with our community, because I think there's some really good highlights. I'm not saying that it's perfect and that we've achieved what we want to achieve, but I am saying the trajectory, if you just look at data compared to the state, when we look at data about 10, 15 years ago compared to the state, it's a lot different today. And that's, I just want to commend all the people in curriculum and all the divisions, because what we all do is we know that data is data, but at the end of the data, we know that there are students who are making clearer and better choices to better effectuate their life and their quality of life. And so those are points of pride I think we really need to talk about at some point in the future.
Mr. President, I'd like to acknowledge that the posting was posted out there, just to let you all know that of the meeting for the hearing. Just to let you know.
Thank you. Oh, that's Thomas. I was like, who's fucking that? I'm sorry. Okay. And we can close this meeting? Okay.
Anything else?
Meeting is closed at 5:51.
Yes, sir.
Okay, call this 6 o'clock meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. We'll start with our invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Yes, sir. First, I want to say January is Women's Appreciation Month. I know that by your places, you got some gifts. I want to commend all of our principals and campuses for everything they do to recognize that. We're going to do some things here as well. And so to start it off, I'd like to introduce Ms. Janice Hernandez, who's going to lead us in the invocation followed by our pledge of allegiance.
Thank you. Please join me in a moment of reflection. Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business, guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez.
Thank you. Yes, I think we started. Okay, recognitions.
Yes, sir, we do have some recognitions. Obviously, we want to recognize the awards in this special month. Before we get there, we'd like to start off with some student recognitions. And then we have, I think, a staff recognition. And then we would like to do a special presentation to the board. So again, turn it back over to Ms. Janice Hernandez to begin our recognition this evening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Versta. So we're going to start off with our first recognition tonight. It's Indian Creek Elementary School. Indian Creek Elementary School would like to recognize Karina Hernandez. Karina Hernandez is a 5th grade student, and she has the most Imagine math lessons on the entire campus, which is why they're wanting to recognize her. She is a model student. She is a leader on our campus that encourages students to make good choices. Her tone and word choices, while she leads her peers, are respectful and encouraging. Karina also has very good grades and keeps up with all of her assignments when she is virtual. She is a very dedicated student and enjoys her academics. Indian Creek is very happy to recommend Ms. Karina Hernandez as a student to be recognized. Congratulations to Karina. Next up, we have Kriwalt Elementary, and they want to recognize Genesis Alele. Genesis Alele is a 5th grade student, and he is an outstanding student and overall role model for others. His work ethic is unparalleled in the classroom. He works hard to overcome disabilities that affect his learning and constantly surpasses expectations. His positive attitude is infectious, and he is a joy to have in the classroom. Kriwalt is honored to recommend Genesis for this award. Congratulations to Genesis. Next up, we have Scobee Middle School, who is proud to recognize 7th grade student and Andres Samaripa. Andres is an honor roll student, mostly A's in majority of his classes, and extremely driven. He was not only their 6th grade champion last year in his Imagine Math lessons, but this year picked up where he left off with over 90 lessons completed despite the pandemic, and is still going strong with pathways that an 8th grade student would be working on. As described by his parents, Andres is attentive, compassionate, and supportive with all his siblings. Andres wants to finish every grade level as the Imagine Math champion and use his skills and knowledge to become a successful doctor in the military. He stated that he wants that role model for others, that with hard work and dedication, anything is possible. Andres feels loved and respected by his classmates and his teachers here at Scobee Middle School. In Tigerland, they are all extremely proud of Andres' accomplishments and drive to be the best. Congratulations, Andres. Up next, we have Alberto Alvarez. He is the CAN-STEM High School Student Recognition. They are wanting to recognize him for his hard work and efforts, and because he serves as an integral part of the CAS Network PBL design team this summer, helping design Contagion, Horrors, and Hope, our first school-wide PBL unit. Alberto strives to be the best he can each day as a scholar and servant leader on his campus. As a member of the CAS-STEM robotics team, Alberto led the team gracefully and competitively during the pandemic competition season. Alberto has also taken the role of student facilitator, teaching and leading students through different initiatives on their campus, from PBL presentation to CAS Network leadership. His willingness, drive, and passion has earned him praise by all of his teachers throughout the CAS Network. Congratulations. Next up, we have our recognition for our retiring principal, Odelia Martinez. Miss Odelia Martinez will be retiring from Southwest ISD at the end of this month after a total of 50 years in education. For 50 years, Odelia has dedicated her life to helping children learn, grow, and accomplish their dreams. The district was so fortunate to have had Odelia serve the Southwest ISD community for the last 33 years. She is retiring as principal of Resnick Middle School, but has served in many capacities and at many campuses throughout the years. She has inspired many, and the impact that she has made on Southwest ISD will never be forgotten.
So special congratulations to Odelia, 50 years in education. 33 of those years have been here at Southwest. I know it's coming around to you all. We've been able to put out a virtual platform for those folks in the district to send her a positive message. And in this non-human environment, we try to limit those interactions. If we were able to have her here, we would definitely be able to bestow those words to her. For someone with half a century in education and giving to our students and our communities for 3 decades, we also have our special commemorative coin for Odelia, which I'm going to deliver to her before she leaves. Her last day would be January 29th. And we would normally have her here to do this. We are hoping that this year that things are different in May, and we can do some aspect of our employee banquet where we recognize those people who have given their service for multiple years in our district and other kind of recognitions. We're hoping that in May, we're able to do some things with her and for her in public. And we didn't want to pass up this opportunity while she's still an employee here to really recognize Odelia. She's done some tremendous things. And anywhere she's been, elementary, she's a former Texas Bilingual Teacher of the Year, and she took her talents to the administrative level and has done some really great things. Opened up Resnick Middle School, was the inaugural principal, and we're going to wish her well, and we hope that she does come back in some capacity in the future and continue to work with our families She indicated she would love to stay connected with our kids. And so congratulations to Odelia for all the years of service to education, specifically to Southwest ISD community. So,
I think she logged on.
did she log on? Is she here? Odelia?
Can you unmute her?
We asked her to unmute.
Odelia, can you hear us?
She's unmuted. No.
Anyway, if you can hear us, we love you. We thank you. We look forward to celebrating this milestone with you, and we wish you well in your journey. So let's give her a round of applause. And then I believe we have one more category of recognition.
So today's School Board Recognition Month, so we're trying to get all the technical things out. Governor Greg Abbott has declared January 2021 as School Board Recognition Month as a tribute to the hardworking school board members who play such an important role in our communities and school. Although showing appreciation should be a year-round process, taking advantage of the designated month ensures that you receive some of the thanks that you deserve. So in honor of today, I have requested that everyone send us a picture or a short clip just to show their appreciation for that all you do. We received over 70 pictures and clips of appreciation for all of you. So we compiled as much as we could in a video, but we do have a link that we'll share with you after after this meeting, so you can see all the little videos and the clips and the pictures that were sent to you. So here we go.
Do you want to thank our school board on all this good today? We could thank them for how much they do for me and you. Yeah, let's tell them right away. We can do this all together. Oh please, let's get this show on the road. Do you want to thank our school board? Come on, let's thank our school board. Me and you.
Thank you from Hidden Cove.
Thank you.
Again, thank you. It's great to be a part of the team here at Southwest ISD.
On behalf of the Legacy Titan Band, we would like to extend our utmost gratitude for all of the PPE, equipment, and instruments purchased for our program. Welcome, we are very thankful.
We cannot do without you guys, so thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to thank our media department and our fine arts department, Sky Harbor Carl Dickerson and his students, and then Richard Flores as well, who wanted to also personally thank the board for all that they've done for the fine arts department. So I don't know, Richard wanted to say a few words. I don't know. He was on and then he wasn't. Are you on, Richard? I don't see him, but he did want to say a few words and express gratitude, and so did all of the fine arts students. So. And that concludes.
So I'll just pick it up from there. On behalf of our divisions and all of our really phenomenal campus leadership, we want to thank all of you for your countless hours and everything you do. I'm always amazed at the time that each one of you is willing to contribute to create a better system that supports our families and specifically our students. And because of you and the tough decisions that you have to make sometimes, we know that we're making a difference in the lives of our kids, even through this most challenging time in our collective lives. We've never stopped to do what's right for our children, to create pathways and opportunities. We don't get it perfect every day, but I know as we work collectively with our governance, we get it right most of the time, and we always make decisions with the children in our minds. And so I want to thank you for everything that you guys do, all of your actions, and every decision that you've made to support the children at Southwest ISD. So on behalf of the 14,000 students, 2,200 employees, our 18 campuses, and our 4 divisions, thank you for everything you guys do. And that does conclude our recognition, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everyone. Anyone want to have a comment? Hearing none, public comments. Nobody signed up?
We did not have any sign up.
Okay. Consent agenda. Fellow board members, you've had that before you. Are there any questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
I move.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All against, same sign. Motion passes. We will then go to items of information. Construction update.
Yes, sir. Today I have with me Tom Peters. We're going to go through some of our construction updates, some of our projects. Also tonight, we can share with you some of the development that's going on across our district. Just kind of give you an idea about the future. We'll piggyback on that saying that we're also going to start really working with our developers coming over the next couple of months and getting data on possibilities in the future of where we need to be looking for future sites for schools and also just monitoring our growth. And so I'm going to turn it over to Thomas, who's going to go through some of the projects first, and then we'll talk about that a little bit.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
First item up that we have on the construction report tonight is Southwest High School Phase 3 update. Pfluger Architects has put together this presentation. And they're off, you'll join us here, do this, but tonight, so as of right now, no safety issues to report. The contractor is keeping a clean site. Field protection is provided at all the work areas and corridors as needed. Temporary barriers in place at the corridors and areas of work to keep the kids out of the construction area. I'm gonna pan down a little bit to the pictures. So as you can see, it's all of the work that we had planned that was in the fall, all has been completed. I don't know if y'all were here yesterday. If you drove by the high school, they were dropping more units up in the library area. There was a crane out front, and we were working there, and that's kind of what the picture there is, where you're seeing through the roof, bringing that in. But very similar construction to what they reported before. It's renovating all the hallways. We're taking over parts and sections as can. Also, KenCon was very adamant to say thank you to Coach Black. They said he's been phenomenal to work with. He's trying to help them move it along as fast as possible. And I think it's been going very well. I think they're ahead of schedule, what we really thought we might be before we get to that summertime. So they did say thank you very much to Coach Black on that one to help make the process a lot easier, especially during all this, the COVID time and everything. It's a mess sometimes to deal with from the contractor side. So does anybody have any questions or any additional information on phase 3?
Well, I think we need to share.
Yeah, you know, the second part of phase 3, I have during buyout savings. Okay, so phase 3, under the buyout portion of KenCon's work, we went to the GMP with a budget that the board approved. We have come back now, and after KenCon has gone through all of their buyout, through getting contracts and doing the front end part, they've come up with $2.2 million in buyout savings. That 2.2 is on top of the $525,000 of owner contingency unit, and then $250,000 of unit price allowance, and another $450 of the Southwest High School contractor contingency. So all of those items are still available, barring the little bit of owner contingency that we've already spent for some unforeseen conditions and a few unit prices that had to do with welding on the deck for the new rooftop units to go in. So what we've looked at, there were some things that we did not get in. One, the main thing being the re-roof of the project. The roof at Southwest High School was a new roof back in 2002 when the new addition was put on. That makes that 19 years old with a 20-year life expectancy. Because we have this $2.2 million in buyout, we've asked Joris and Fluger to put together a quote. I'm sorry, KenCon, I'm just that. Phase 2 still in my head. They're gonna look me for that one. So the PR28 is an entire re-roof to go to a foam roof. We do have multiple areas where, from the facilities and maintenance side, we have Bentley out here with us a lot, trying to chase these roof leaks. That 4-ply built-up roof doesn't make that as easy as you would think to try and find if they run and move on us. So one of the items that we would like to recommend that get done with part of that 2.2 million is the entire campus re-roof. Now that probably won't take place until the summertime, but the funds are there. That was one item that we didn't get in the GMP originally, but now that they've done the buyout, we would like to recommend that. The CT overhead doors on PR25, that was something that was just recently brought to our attention. The CTE director has come to us, and there is a need for additional overhead doors between shops and classrooms, because the way they utilize that with the aviation and the plumbing, construction trades, there's need for pass-through doors in those shops and areas. So that's going to entail cutting out some of that tilt wall concrete that we have at the Career Center to open those up. So that's $41,613. And then the last area that really wasn't touched in this renovation was the home ec, the old home ec area. There's 3 big classrooms on the top floor in the very back, kind of as you go towards the cave. Those areas we're only getting the lighting retrofit. So in this, with that $159,000 that's there, we're recommending that we go ahead and do the entire facelift to make it match what's being done everywhere else in the high school. And then I think at that point, everything in the 1984 building will have been touched during these 3 phases of construction and renovated with new lighting, new floors, new ceilings, make it a nice place to be and get us up to equitable standards with what we have over at Legacy. So the recommendation, and I don't know if you want to explain that.
This is we formally already have approval on the funding source, and previously when we brought the GMP, so the funds, the board has already approved for us to spend on the project. Because of cost savings, what we asked from the board The contractors came in and those buyout savings. And so these are funds that are available in this project. We didn't really anticipate that we weren't earmarking towards any other project. But at the same time, we felt like we're upgrading all the infrastructure. And one thing everybody knows in your house, you probably want to have a safe roof. And so we feel like the roof is an important investment. And the other two items are really the scale of it. These are programs, items that have been requested, and we think that we could accommodate them because we have the funds available. So it's not really for approval, but we are kind of seeking an informal approval to move forward with the contractor to get really good pricing and move forward in using the funds. At the end of this project, more than likely, that contingencies at the bottom, we're not going to spend, so those funds will be available and freed up for future use in another project that we're coming up. We still have the middle school tracks and the transportation department. And at the end, we could use it to buy more buses or technology. It just depends on what we need here in the next couple of months or next year towards the end of the bond projects. And so we just wanted to share that with you. We'd like to move forward. It's not really an action item. It's kind of more of an informal to get the green light so that we can negotiate with the contractor and kind of get moving.
And just so everybody's clear, on the top, those three items, they equal $2,053,570. So that's covered by the buyout. Then the green numbers add up to the bottom. As of right now, if there's no other unforeseen conditions that we need to use contingency allowance for, we will have $1,250,549 at the end of the project. It's not over yet, but that's where we stand right now.
Unless anyone has heartburn about this, it stays within the scope of the project. It was a VE item that now we can put back in the item. It stays within the bond that the community approved. It doesn't expand that, so we would like to just keep moving forward. And unless anyone wants to bring us that back in the proposal, this has been an item discussed numerous times in the past and taken off, and now it can go back on. So we'd like to just go back on unless you guys direct us to bring it in a formal approval. We've already got this project approved. The same budget stays the same, and the bond that we sold is still upgrading the high school for the same amount that we told the community we would do that for.
In other words, the option has always been there. We had already given the permission. If the funds are available, they're running with that option unless anybody has any heartburn. Then what we can do is repost it on the agenda as an action item for further discussion. Does anyone?
You mean,
Okay.
if we do have a discussion, then you want to post it, but if we don't want a discussion, they just move on.
Well, we could I just need someone to say, look, I'm against it, and we'll
I
push
don't think
it.
anybody's
Okay.
against it.
Okay, we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, the Southwest ISD re-roof and HVAC replacements. F.A. Nunley's been working on these. The majority of the work, I'm going to say, has been done. All of the elementary schools have had their gyms AC put in. The re-roof at Elm Creek and Kriwalt has been done, along with the replacement of the units there. The one lagging thing that we have left is the last part of it is the replacement of the air handlers at McAuliffe. Because McAuliffe is underway and still moving, that won't happen until the summertime. Or if we can get spring break, we might have some work being done there, but the majority of it will happen during the summertime. So I can kind of go through Big Country, and I know you may have noticed on some of them, we had an issue with the cowl wall up in the, if you see the top two, these two windows where the exhaust fans used to be, we had an issue with the cowl wall coming in on time. Then the guy that was doing the installation got COVID, pushed it back even further. So now by the end of this week, we should have those all completed and put in at every campus. That was what was falling behind on the cowl wall side. So with that being done, all the elementaries are complete. The only thing we lack then is the RTU replacement in the mezzanines of McAuliffe. So we're working through that with F.A. Nunley and LPA. I thought we had one in here that was not done yet, but no, they're all finished projects. So does anyone have any questions on this project?
No.
Next one will be the Scobee Middle School renovation. That is with Barleycock and Garza Baumberger Architects. So we just turned over the first hallway that they had done. It had been all punched out. You can see some of the final pictures there of what it looks like in the hallways now. They actually were in the process yesterday and today of moving the new hallway that they're taking in, moving the old classrooms out of the portables, moving the ones that are going to be renovated to the portables. So I think we wrapped that up today as far as getting all the teachers and kids moved. But you can see here the pictures of what is being done and now that where they're starting the renovation again. And this will, again, be an ongoing, just going to move and chunk as much as we can and get it done as fast as possible. Should be done at the end of this coming summer. Anybody have any questions on Scobee? No, sorry, I'm not very good with this. Next item is, my construction report will be the natatorium, or I'm sorry, aquatic center now with Joris and Marmon Mock Architects. So just, if y'all haven't been out, that project is underway now as of last week. They started moving dirt. You can already kind of see where the building is at. All the construction fencing has been put up. The trailers are on site now. All the trees have been removed, but the outline of the building's pretty much been set out by Joris. And so you can see there just lots of dirt movement. And then as you go out and see it, you'll see the fencing and everything. The official grand opening, official groundbreaking ceremony will be on the 29th. I think everyone's been made aware of that. If not, we'll make sure we get you the information on it. So that'll be on the 29th at 11:30. Is that right, Sabine? Does anybody have any questions on the natatorium? I can go through the presentation, but I know we just did it the last month with GMP, so I don't know if y'all want me to.
No, not the report. There's a lot of dirt right now.
Yeah, it's not
Good
much.
before and after picture.
It's exciting for us because it means it started and it's going, but to look at it, it just looks like a big black field out there. So just a bunch of black dirt. The next item is the transportation facility. I do not have any pictures for that one. So we are underway with the design of the transportation facility. If you recall, it's one of that and the middle school tracks are the last two items that we have on the bond to be finished. So RVK is the architect. We just recently, last week, finalized the contract with them as far as the design side of it. We are on board. We had the first initial meeting this morning at transportation with the design team and the folks from transportation. The biggest item here, we're going to be doing a new bus wash system. That's one thing that has been kind of plaguing transportation for a few years now. So with the new bus wash and then an upgrade inside of mainly finishes, all lighting upgrades, ceiling, floors, kind of like what we've been doing at Scobee and some of the other projects. So we will have a better report and you'll start seeing the reports from the architect probably next month on that job. Anybody have any questions for transportation?
No.
All right, the next one, the papers that I handed out earlier before the meeting started. I'm going to pull the map up there and I'm going to talk to the list. So just so everybody kind of has an idea, that's our district map. The green dots, those are actual active sites where they're already moving, at least putting in utilities or already building homes. So as you go through looking at the map, you can see that there's a lot of places going. A few of those are closing out, but the majority of them are just starting. And the preserve is about halfway, but there are some others that are on the red dots that are in the queue, and they are about to start breaking ground, putting in utilities on those. So if you kind of go down the list, that's on the other sheet, you can see there the fourth column over, that talks about number of units in each one of those areas. So Lucky Ranch, Applewood Ranch, Cinco Lakes, the Donaker tract, those four are all right there at 1604 and Highway 90. That's all what you get from Medina River to Highway 90. There, the Donaker one is the closest to the river, then you got Cinco Lakes, and the next one that they just put the new road in on up at the top of the hill is Applewood Ranch. So Applewood Ranch will not only be single-family homes, there's going to be commercial involved in that. We don't know or have not been given much information on what will be going there or when. We do know that the housing is already moving forward. So that's 740 lots there with 1,326 planned out over the next 6 years at Cinco Lakes. Donaker Tract, which is abut Cinco Lakes, is 204. So another thing that we talked about at subcommittee, and just for y'all's update, we are in negotiations with Pulte Homes. We're looking to purchase a school site in Cinco Lakes. So we would be able to at least have an elementary, because I think when that is fully built out with 1,300 homes, that will fill an elementary probably without a problem. So we are in negotiations with them on that. As you go down the list, Solana Ridge, that's over near Sun Valley. That one that's kind of a ongoing, that's been going for a couple of years. They keep opening up new sections. I actually got a zoning request for another area, which I don't know yet if it is Solana Ridge or if it's someone else, but it abuts their property. So I'm assuming it's Solana Ridge, adding on to what they've already got. Ranch Carlotta is that one is over by Southwest Legacy High School. That is the Habitat for Humanity subdivision that's going in over there. That's going to be going in 2 phases. The first phase is smaller than the second, but that'll be 369 homes there. Palo Alto Trails, those are the ones that are over off of Highway 16 and 410. The preserve at Medina is, like I said, it's about, I don't know, probably not even halfway built out, but it is right there at 16 and Watson, just south of Legacy High School. Applewhite Meadows is the one that kind of popped up on us all of a sudden. If you were to take, if anybody knows where Colt 45 is, or Applewhite Road off of Highway 16, you take Applewhite Road in, and when it makes the bend, the first bend to the right to go towards Toyota, that's where the main entrance is going to be. And that was going to be 646 lots. And that one, we didn't even know that was on the books. And then all of a sudden, people started moving dirt and cutting down trees, and now there's a subdivision going. So that one kind of flew under the radar for us. Solana Ridge, and the next ones are the proposed that we've heard about and know are coming. It's just a matter of when they break ground. Solana Ridge, Unit 19, that is also over by in the Sun Valley area near, oh, I'm sorry, that's the same one. I thought that was the Camino Real. So Solana Ridge, we don't have them put together. Solana Ridge that's another unit that has been zoned and ready, but doesn't have a plan yet for the houses. Crescent Hill is directly behind the water tower that Saw's built right here by Meadow Creek. So that is, if you've been seeing going up Pearsall Road, they've been doing the sewer line for it. So now, if you know where Mark and Charlie Newman used to live, their driveway basically is going to be the main entrance right into it. And that whole subdivision is the old Newman property. So that would be another 547. Fisher Meadows, that is right off of, it would be near the truck stop or the Valero on 35 and Fisher Road. It's right there. That one has been in the proposed stage for a while. I'm not sure if it's kind of like the Verano where it may never happen, but it's on the books, and there's actually a layout of the subdivision. So we're keeping it on our list.
Across the street from Benjamin?
No, sir. This is right behind the old Chrome shop that's there. Like as soon as you get onto Fisher, you take a right after the Chrome shop, and it'd be right there. As you come up, when you get off 35 to go to Fisher Road, from the off ramp all the way up to Fisher Road, right there on 35.
Tim sold the 200 acres. Right?
Yes, sir. That's the next one. Tim subdivision. We have Tim subdivision Unit 3 and Unit 1. Those are the ones that are directly across from Benjamin's. There's also been there was a zoning that came out. We got it last Thursday that someone is trying to turn the front half of that property from single family to multifamily. So potentially apartment complexes coming to that location. Camino Real entrance will be directly across from the preserve on Watson Road. So if you came out of the preserve, drove across Watson Road, you'd be in Camino Real. That one, that was the old Friesenhahn property, Norman Friesenhahn's area. Then you have Hunter's Pond continues to build. They have 43 lots in there. The Crawford property is, if you were coming from, it's before the service entry of Legacy High School. So almost directly across the street from the Castillo softball fields. That there's 3 tracts of land, all the same size. This is one of them. And so if the other 2 go, I would assume that we're going to be in the neighborhood of around 600, 700 homes there as well. And then the Somerset subdivision, I'm going to have to look at that. I apologize on that. I don't think it's on my map.
I'm sure it's on Somerset Road, maybe somewhere.
Well, it's spelled different, though. But they're spelled it different.
That's it.
They spelled it different, Somerset,
Yeah.
like summer, the season.
I don't have that one on my map here, so I'm gonna have to find out where that, I can't remember. There's so many of them. So
Is the Palo Alto Trails the Marbella, or is that where?
yes, sir, it would be the one that if you, I'm sorry, I do everything off the street, but it's Highway 16 and 410, right? The next, there's Rosemont Apartments.
And then it's right there.
And then it's right there.
There's one that's not on here, Thomas, but that rears its head every now and then. That would be a monstrosity. It's Vita.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's one we definitely keep an eye on, because that'd be a really, really big housing addition in our district.
That one could be like Cinco Lakes, where it would just
Where's
be,
that located?
it's next to Texas A&M University.
Oh.
It's the section of property that we have right abutting Texas A&M University. So
It would
What's
be
it called?
mostly in Southwest and partly in South Side.
Viva?
it was Verano, now it's Vida,
Okay.
VIDA. And so
Oh, Vida.
we've talked to the lady there with the developer several times. And then when COVID happened, she kind of felt like we haven't seen her since. So we don't know what's happening. We've reached out, but I have not gotten a response back.
That was after a guarantee they would break ground this
They
January.
would be breaking ground this year. So
Mm.
that's what she told us.
Thomas, in the future, you think we can get this map with yellow dots for our schools?
Put the schools on there? I can do that. Yeah, do that.
Yeah,
No, we'll update it with the school sites.
and maybe
Because basically,
a little about how many students are at each
Honestly, we
school.
can do better, you put the logos.
Yeah, and a number. I know, so Thomas, give that look before. Yeah, the number of students next to it.
Not available.
with this amount of homes that we have coming up, when all this
Slash
goes,
capacity.
we're gonna get close to having to probably redraw some boundaries for elementary schools, is what I see. We should have the capacity to withstand some of this for a while, but we will probably have to do boundary, especially right here between Southwest Elementary and Medio Creek. With all of what's going on, we're probably gonna have to really look at that close and make sure that we're giving it a proportion to the district. Does anybody have any question on the residential side? So then I have 2 items, as Mr. Bernal pointed out earlier. If you go up 1604 towards Highway 90 off to the right, you see a new road cut in, and a lot of construction work going on. We've been told that that's the new Amazon distribution center for San Antonio. It's a very large facility, but it is not residential, so we'll be watching it, but it doesn't have any housetops coming with it. And then the other one, development that I just received last week, it has been, someone is looking to, or has already purchased the land directly catty corner to La Esquinita Restaurant to build a Dollar General. So that has already been platted and they're moving forward. And then, Mr. Dolkin, I didn't get a chance to edit this map, but there is a mobile home community that's coming up on Wheeler and Pearsall Road. I think it was Tierras de Vacas.
Yeah,
I think is what you call it.
something like
Yeah,
that, 31.
So it's 31 mobile homes in there, but they already put it in utilities and they've already paved the road. So I would think that one's going to come very soon.
I think what we're going to do too is reach out to Ms. Clay Flores' office. I have some concerns if the Amazon distribution is going to have an outlet on 1604 along with these rooftops, we can really expect some really severe traffic issues, especially when all of our buses are running in the morning and PM. And our hope is that they are also looking at that and making plans accordingly so that we can make sure we have safe passage to and from our schools. So we'll set that meeting up with her and make sure that we have that conversation.
We also will be having some, I'm assuming probably summertime this year, we'll be having more meetings along with the roadway change on 1604, because that's scheduled still to start in 22. I think they'll have another rendition of the plan as to what's going to happen from Highway 90 to IH 35. So along with all that building, then we're going to tear the road up. So
we know from a meeting about 4 or 5 years ago, the plan was to divide 1604 from Highway 90 to 35. A lot has happened in that time, and from what you see on the action, doesn't look like that's still part of the plan.
right, then it's not as extensive, I think, as what they originally planned. So we're waiting to see what the next rendition shows and what they have planned there.
But we are getting a McDonald's at Moorbuck and 1604.
Yes, we are.
Got to compete with Whataburger.
I was wondering what that was.
Okay,
Any other questions?
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Thomas.
Okay, monthly tax report, financial report, investment report. You got anything to add to those? Brendan?
No, just in our tax report, this is something we're really monitoring because of, because of COVID, and we were a little worried about, but we're actually up pretty well in December, 4% compared to last year, so it's really good news. This month will really, because usually we get most of our taxes in December and January, so we'll see this one hopefully.
Great.
That's all I have there.
Gifts and bequests,
Got all these.
enrollment report. Oh, yeah, we need to report. Is anything here over 250? Do we need to report?
Not to our, we didn't go through your bag, but not to our knowledge.
Okay, I don't think we'll have to worry there. The price list. Review purchases over 50,000. Enrollment report, I think I skipped that. Calendar of events. Does staff have any comments on that? Hearing none, 2020 online auction results. Thomas?
District online auction, which took place November 6th, 2020 through November 17th, 2020, grossed the district $76,420 and netted $61,136 after all of the fees were taken out for Lemons auctioneers. The auction consisted of 175 lots. We were up from last year. We had 201 lots and we grossed $53,898. So the Southwest ISD online auction was conducted by Lemon Auctioneer Online Pros, and the fiscal impact was a gross of $76,420 and net of $61,136. And if anybody cares, I have the what sold and the lot items and how much for each one, if anybody wants to look at.
Thank you. Board members, any questions on the auction?
No, sir.
Hearing none, superintendent's recommendations, we'll go into closed sessions. Administrative and Human Resources, consider approval of 3 early release days for students in exchange for teacher planning days in spring 2021.
Yes, we have Adrian Ramirez, who actually worked closely with Will Baker and our district improvement team. And so Adrian, are you available? Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I'm sharing my screen, and just good evening, Board President Vasquez, board members, Dr. Versta, senior leaders. The recommendation for early release days, due to COVID-19, Southwest ISD has had to make adjustments actually in various areas. One area that has been impacted is instruction, and unlike in previous years, teachers are having to plan, develop and deliver instruction and provide instructional support for students engaging in 2 separate learning environments, face-to-face and remote. Teachers are doing so with no additional time allotted for this additional planning. Providing teachers 3 hours on 3 separate days once a month in February, March, and April will give teachers time to analyze student data and performance and develop quality lessons and assessments in response to such data. On these early release days, students will receive face-to-face and remote instruction beginning at the established elementary, middle school, and high school start times for 4 hours until dismissal. Transportation will be provided for students already receiving that service, and modified bell schedules for each campus will be developed to support a productive instructional day and effective and successful dismissal. As per TEA guidance, local education agencies are able to exchange instructional minutes for teacher planning time. With this exchange of minutes, Southwest ISD is able to continue meeting the 75,600 minute requirement. The appropriate waiver, if needed, will be submitted to the Texas Education Agency for this particular exchange. And so one of the things that we've done is we've gone ahead and outlined and recommended the 3 days that we would like to request early release for students. And those days would be on Wednesday, February 24th, Wednesday, March 24th, and April 28th. These are the fourth Wednesdays of each of those months. And it would be for each of the 3 levels, elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. Dismissal times would be, or instruction time would be for 4 hours at each of the levels. And dismissal will be at the times indicated that you see here, with still providing teachers and staff a duty-free lunch of 30 minutes. And teacher planning time would follow after that. We did, and we have considered the fact that parents may not be home to receive students at the early dismissal time or shortly thereafter. And so we will be working closely with our campus principals to create a plan that would address that particular concern and provide for staff members on campus to and a place for students to remain on campus should parents not be able to receive them. We'd have people on campus able to work with them and supervise them during that particular time until they're able to be dismissed or until they're able to go home.
Do we know the dates yet, Adrian?
You gave them February 24th,
We
right? February, March, and April. Well, February 24th, March 24th, and April 28th.
So we know that there are other districts who are participating. You know, this year, every teacher and every system should be a teacher of the year for the efforts and what they're having to do. And we're looking for a way
No, I wrote it down.
to help morale. We're also looking for a way to provide them some extra planning time. The minutes that we have in our system right now in our existing calendar allows us to select 3 dates. I know some other districts who had other minutes and they can go longer. We try to align ours with the Northside plan because we know a number of our teachers are also parents and they live in Northside, and if their children are off, that puts a burden to find substitute coverage in our school district. And so I want to thank Adrian and the whole crew and our district improvement team who also went through this process for providing without adding to the official school day or extending the year. We're able to do this in support of our teachers to give them more planning time. Also recognizing that we have to make a contingency for those students who may not be able to go home because their parents are frontline employees and not able to be home. So thank you, Adrian.
Thank you.
What if they're not frontline employees? What does that mean?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean? I mean, I know what frontline employees are, but what if they're not, I mean, parents, what if they're just,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't use, if their parents are working
Any
and
parent.
not able to
Okay.
be at home.
all right.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions?
Questions? So
That I'm looking for a motion.
I move.
Okay,
I second.
we have a motion and a second to approve the 3 early release dates for students in exchange for teacher planning days in spring 2021 as given. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Adrian.
thank you.
Thank you, Adrian.
Okay, business and finance. Consider approval to order the 2021 school board election.
Yes, sir. This is an order that has to be posted. It has to be approved by the school board. And the order is, it calls an election for May 1st, 2021. On the order, it lists when the applications are due. the main early polling site, the times of early voting, and then because we contract with Bear County to host our election and they support us with personnel and with the equipment, it gives the individuals out in the public the information for mail-in ballots and who to contact with any questions for the actual election. And so to get started with the election, we're here today to seek approval from the board to approve.
Online and voting.
I will say there's 3 items. And so this is the first part. There's another item that deals with joint election, and the third item is with contracting Bear County for the equipment and the services. So this one is just to call the election for the school board.
Again, this is simply to call the election, give the date and the call.
I move.
You move. Do I have a second?
I second.
So a motion and a second that the board approve ordering the 2021 school board election to be held in accordance with the state laws and local policies on May 1st, Saturday. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
You don't want to hear Keith voting?
Keith, I know he's online. His vote, can we hear him?
Dr. Byram, can you hear us?
He said aye. Oh. I'm gonna tell
Dr.
him.
Byron, if you can hear me, you need to unmute.
Dr. Byram, are you there?
I just told him to unmute himself.
Okay.
You want to give it a second? Or
Well, yeah, because we need to hear him voting. I mean, he's attending the meeting, but we have not been hearing him.
If he's like me, he's trying to find that unmute button.
He just keeps saying aye.
Not there or he is there?
He's
No,
there.
he said aye in the text.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe he can put in the chat. I don't know if that's sufficient.
Can you vote in chat?
Oh, I'm gonna tell him.
I believe he's on with his phone. Does that make a difference, Roger? He should be able to unmute the phone.
You should be able to unmute this call.
Yeah, but it'd be nice to unmute him in case he has any comments.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell him, hit the button that shows the microphone.
Still muted.
He said, I find.
Are you sure the actual volume's on, Roger? I'm just curious because we haven't heard anyone yet.
Adrian was just on.
Yeah, Adrian.
And there's no host that can unmute.
He has to unmute.
He has to unmute himself. I can ask him to, but he has to push the button. He's on his phone?
Yes, he's on my phone.
I guess we can just move on.
Okay. Okay, we'll see if he can figure it out. If not,
He says, I vote yes, and he's sweating and the emoji. I think he's nervous.
okay.
We could probably get him on his cell phone, all have audio.
Let's
That's-
do that.
I'll call him.
Can you give me a second?
I think he has to use the district speakerphone.
Oh, okay.
Are we still under,
Human resources? or-
No, we're in the business of finance. We're on the.
We're about to go into item B.
Yes, that's fine. I'm very sorry. Answered all your questions.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Can you
I
hear me, Keith?
want to tell everybody, now that I'm on the phone, that I appreciate the concern everybody's had for Sherry and I. Sherry and I have been very sick, and but we're almost out of it. I think we are out of it. I didn't want to go today because I didn't want to scare everybody. Probably lost about 20 pounds, but we're doing fine, and I just appreciate everybody's concern for me. I'll just stay on the phone and have to answer if I have to.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, sir.
We're glad you're both doing well, Keith, and we wish you well as you continue to recover as well.
Okay, we're gonna go into item 9B, consider approval of a joint election.
Yes, sir.
Yes, before I turn it over to Brandon, I just want to say a few words. This is the board action where you're actually calling a joint election with an entity, a neighboring entity. And so I know that we have done it one way in our district, joint election with Lytle, Texas, for the last, I think, 13, 14 years. We also heard remarks and comments from all of our board members, and they're different. And so what we wanted to do, Brandon and I have been in consultation with our attorney about gathering information and what's the best way to address this. And so at my direction, Brandon has put together what the venues available to this collective board are. And what we'd like to do is just present those as options to the board, let you all have that conversation and come up with a recommendation, and then we'll go from there. But I just wanted to preface that because I know there's, in the past, we've had some elections and you all brought to our attention some concerns or reservations. We've also had a really great working relationship with either one of the entities. They're both good people. And so Mr. Crisp is going to run through, I believe, 3 options, present them to the board, and then we'll be available to answer any questions or participate in the conversation after that.
Okay, and before you do, board members, I'm gonna ask that you allow Brandon make his presentation, and then I will allow each one of us to make any comments or, for or against any of these options, okay? Thank you. Brandon?
Thank you, sir. First of all, just so everybody knows, the district is required, all school districts are required to have a joint election with some entity, whether it's a county, a city, or a college district. And so by law, school districts are required to have a joint election with one of those entities. Before you, I have listed kind of our options that we have based on how we've operated in the past. In May, we have not had a joint election with Bexar County. So the data that I have is based off when we had a joint election in November. Different type of election, because the data that you're being presented, if you look at example, I'm going to just share this so I can be up front and so you know, on voting day sites under Bexar County, it says 302. So in November, because it was a presidential election, there was 302 sites on voting day that voters could go to and vote at. Talking with Bexar County, trying to get some information on how many sites will be available this May. It won't be 302 because it's not the presidential election. So 50% they say would be a good number. And so I put 50% next to there because the real data that I had from November is 302, but really in reality, it'll be about 50% of that. So we won't have 302 sites across San Antonio that people can vote at on voting day. So going through these, I'm gonna start with Bexar County and it's gonna go through the different areas of if we joined it with Bexar County. Early voting sites, and this is data that I pulled from November. We had voters vote at 43 different voting sites in early voting. Voting day sites, like I said, it was 302 in November, but it's gonna roughly be about 50% of that. Cost is about the same, 26,000. It was a little bit more in November, but there'll be a lot less sites, and so that probably will go down. There will be a cost savings there, or it would basically be even on cost. Early voting day polling sites, that means we would get our early voting site, which is here at central office, plus all the early voting sites across Bexar County. And then voting access, if a voter goes into our sites anywhere across the district and anywhere in Bexar County, they get access to all voting elections or elections that they get on their ballot. In the district on voting day, just like in November, we had Big Country, Bob Hope, Sky Harbor, Sun Valley, and Central Office. We would not have the City of Lytle site. I know that every year and every time we have Bexar County hosts an election, they always ask for Spicewood, and so Spicewood would probably still be a site that we could use. Option B would be the City of Lytle, early voting sites. We would have Central Office. We would have our 6 voting day sites. Voting day sites in Southwest ISD, we would have 6 as well. Cost would be probably about the same. I don't have exact numbers because we don't have a contract with them yet, but it's roughly the same. In early voting day polling sites, we would have Central Office and Central Office. And then voting access, voters would come into our sites and have our ballot and our ballot only. On voting day, we have Big Country, Bob Hope, Sky Harbor, Sun Valley, Central Office, and the City of Lytle. Those would be our sites. And then option C is a kind of a hybrid of that, everything the same, but asking Bexar County to work with us to add additional voting sites. But in doing that, doing the cost analysis, what it would cost to run a 10-day early voting site is about $2,800 per site. So depending on how many we added, that's what the cost would be, about $2,800. And so you would have more sites, and I put 4 there, but it could be 5, 6, depending on how many early voting sites we want across the district. The thing about that, the issue we run into, and when we get into early voting day polling sites, is finding a site that we could use for 10 days. So we possibly have to look at campuses or some facilities across the district that we could tap into. But we would get all our voting day sites that we normally would get, but some additional early voting sites. And so that's kind of the choices and the options that, as we look at it. Is choosing Bexar County or choosing the City of Lytle, or you go with option C, we can look into adding any early voting sites if we do go with the City of Lytle.
Thank you, Brandon. Okay, at this time, what I'm gonna do is allow us to go in no reason behind this other than it's alphabetical order. Dorinda Bernal, would you like to make a comment on the sites? And again, you don't have to, but I'm giving you the option.
Well, in my opinion, I believe that the more voting sites we have, the better it is. However, being that it's that many for Bexar County, I also feel that a lot of times there's just so many options on there, and we're usually at the end of the ballot. So, and most of the people that vote in our district come to the sites that they regularly come. So, at this time, I'm gonna consider and see what everyone else has to say. I feel that probably going with Bexar County would be the best option, but I also like the idea of sticking with Lytle the way we always have been.
Thank you. Pete?
I think my foregoing is for option A. The more sites, the better the option will feel. I feels like I wouldn't want to be suppressing our voters. And having the option, I've seen people ride the bus for my city people. I don't want to have them have excuse how they can't make it to 2 different sites. That would be my best option. And being that more sites, we're paying $26,000 more bang for a buck, or pretty much, I would see it that way.
Thank you, Pete. Dr. Byram?
Yes, as I understand it, we're voting on 3 options, A, B, and C. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Those are the 3 recommendations from the.
I thought this was a comment and not a vote yet.
Yeah, right.
It's not a vote yet. He's just asking if we're
Discussion.
voting for 3.
Well, the way I feel is that we have a large number of people in the southern part of the district that don't have a place to go anywhere close, except for the central office. And that's why we went to Lytle in the first place. So those people along that part of the district would have someplace to go. I felt like it was a pretty good plan. So I favor option B.
Okay. Yolanda Garza Lopez?
Yes, sir. So I feel that I'm definitely leaning towards the option A, Bear County. The reasons for this is because you're definitely getting more versus less in all areas. You're getting more early voting sites. You're getting more voting day sites. And the cost is the lower cost or equal to. The big item for me is the fact that if we go with Bear County, our voters only have to access one ballot. They don't have to go to a separate ballot to vote for district elections. I would like to point out that if we do not vote to go with option A, Bear County, we will be dramatically reducing the number of voting sites during early voting and on election day. Additionally, we will be asking thousands of our Southwest citizens to have to drive to 2 different locations, stand in 2 separate lines, and vote on 2 individual ballots if they want to vote in all the upcoming races. Today, in the age of COVID, it would be unconscionable for this governing body to not make it twice as difficult and twice as dangerous for our citizens to exercise their constitutional right to access the ballot box. We would be effectively creating unnecessary risk and a burden for our voters. Additionally, under option B, yes, you get the central office that is still available for the southern part of our district. However, you also have that option under option A with Bear County. So we are not effectively giving up the central office at all. Central office will continue to be a site. So given all these reasons, I feel that the option A is definitely the more versus less option.
Thank you, Yolanda. Ida?
I don't have a comment.
Okay, thank you. James?
I think option B, because that's what's worked for all of us for the last 14 years. That's it.
And that's it, James? Okay.
Excuse me, I have something to say. I wouldn't mind doing the Lido, but we would need additional sites. I wouldn't want to do it without additional voting sites, especially for early voting. I don't mind having this to have to dish out the $2,800 per site. I think it's important so that we don't suppress anyone.
And, is that it? Okay,
I have an additional comment as well.
okay.
I worked out the numbers from the last election, and I know that they were very high numbers. However, we may potentially have not the same numbers, but certainly good numbers as far as voters go this May. But we had 75% of the voters in the neighborhoods voted early, 75%. And 25% of the voters in the rural areas voted early. You
So-
mean
75% of the people that voted. You don't mean 75%
Yes,
voters. You mean of those that voted.
of those that
75
voted, 75% voted early,
Okay.
yes. And 25% of the rural voted early. And they voted early over 24 separate precincts. So we had voters across 24 precincts in San Antonio.
I think we also had almost a month to early vote too.
3 weeks.
And they were open to like,
15 days.
they were open to like 10 o'clock on one day and 8 o'clock on all the other days. Do we know if the times are going to be the same or it's going to be less?
It won't be the same as the presidential election.
Right, so it's still just
You're
going
have
to,
Saturdays and Sundays, and so it won't
Right.
be, it'll probably be the same. They'll have some late days, we'll have days that'll be open till 8 or 9, and then there'll be some Saturdays that'll be open.
Now, with saying that, everyone needs to know that there's gonna be a heated up mayor's race going on also. Just remember that.
Yes.
That should be one of the things that we should be considering, that we want to have one place for one vote.
Mhm.
No, I can't vote for the mayor, so it don't matter.
Right, but we had over 10,000 votes, that 75% 10,000 votes in the neighborhoods at the last election. And these are people that live in the neighborhoods that want their ballots to include all the races. Going to two sites, potentially going to two sites, and definitely having two ballots and standing in two lines,
I just wonder,
in my opinion, is not.
on the early voting sites, the people, our community that lives over here inside the loop, their closest voting site was Johnson Library, right?
One of them.
Right, I mean, that was the closest for them.
For the voting day,
No,
or
I'm saying
early voting was either Johnson Library, Vista.
Cortez.
No, I'm just saying, it was, the Johnson Library was the closest for Indian Creek to go vote. So if we did an option where we gave them an early voting site closer to Hidden Cove, Indian Creek, Sky Harbor, and even some of those valleys in there that are southwest.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be to their advantage also to vote. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't
Well,
know.
it's just as far as coming over here, so I agree with you. I mean, that's why I said,
Given the new technology that we have in Bear County, where if you vote you can vote anywhere in the city, we are effectively have 40 sites for early voting and 150 sites for the day of voting. And, you know, where you work, where you play, where you shop, where you live, where your family lives, all of these options are available to you.
And then during the time of COVID, we don't know where we're gonna be at May 1st. So if it's a possibility that there may be mega site again, due to, when we have another constraint coming along of kind of COVID, they say it may come to the state of Texas. I feel like that's one of the options that we need to keep open because they were able to handle such both high volume. We say mayor's a big race, and we need to make sure that we're involving those people with there to be able to be safe and voting in different places that they feel safe.
Okay, I want to give my input on this, and I think school board elections have always been tried to be kept as school board elections. Okay, it's not a presidential election, it's not a mayor election, it's a school board election. With that said, I don't think central office is enough for early voting. But I also don't think that we need to open it up to the county, because if you want to vote for a school board election, then you ought to, you know, make some effort. So and the happy medium, in my opinion, is option C, where we select a location close to the Hidden Cove, Indian Creek constituents, maybe one to the Sun Valley area constituents, and one Big Country Kriwalt constituent.
So Mr. President, you would.
Can I finish making my comments, please?
No, sir.
Mr. Berlin? Thank you. By doing so, we maintain a Southwest ISD school board election at Southwest ISD. And there's arguments to be made on that, but that is how I feel. And I think that'll take care of the issue of making early voting closer to our constituents. On election day, you know, we'll have our same locations that's where our people go. And yes, we'll get them also at Bear County. But the one thing we won't get at Bear County is the additional early voting sites that we can select and create for our constituents. Okay, so that's what I've got to say. Okay, now, Mr. Bernard.
Oh, sorry, sir. Just to give you the, so you're saying that in the option of C, you're saying that in putting them in the schools for early voting, and if we're still in COVID, you're willing to take that safety issue?
The schools haven't been decided. That's something to decide. And if COVID is bad enough, and if people are concerned enough with COVID, then you do what?
Mail-in.
You request a mail-in vote. If that is truly your concern, and there's, you know, and you don't want to go out in public to vote, then it's not any safer at a campus than it is at a library. And, you know, if that's your true concern, if your true concern is that, then you request a mail-in vote. That option is there. But yes, again, that is my 2 cents. Okay, thank you. Okay, so everybody has made their statements at this time. And before I ask for if someone wants to make a motion, understand that if you make a motion and it's seconded, we will vote on that motion at that time. Okay, if it passes, it passes. If it doesn't pass, then I'll again open the floor for another motion. Okay, but once a motion is passed on, then that's what we're going to support as a board. Okay, so at this time, I open the floor for a motion.
I move to approve option A.
I have a motion to approve option A. And I have a second.
You have to call them.
Okay, at this time, I am going to do a roll call vote so I can be clear on this. Flo Bernal,
No.
Pete Bernal,
Yay.
Dr. Byram,
No.
Yolanda Garza Lopez,
Yay.
Ida Sodolkin,
I'm gonna have to vote yes.
James Sullivan.
No.
You guys would do this to me. I'm going to vote no. So the motion fails. Okay, at this time, I will open the floor for another motion.
I move that we go with option B.
Is there a second for option B?
I second it.
We do have a second. Okay, once again, we have option B, which is Lytle only and central office only, as we've always done it. Florinda Bernal,
No.
no. Pete Bernal,
No.
Dr. Byram,
Yes.
Yolanda Garza Lopez,
No.
Ida Sodolkin,
No.
James Sullivan.
Yes.
That motion fails as well. At this time, I will open the floor for another option.
I move that we vote for option C.
Okay, we have a motion for option C. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, there is a second. Okay, Florinda Bernal,
Yes.
Pete Bernal,
No.
Dr. Byram,
Yes.
Yolanda Garza Lopez,
No.
Ida Sodolkin,
I'm gonna have to vote, no.
James Sullivan.
No.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4 no's already. That motion fails. Okay, fellow board members, at this time, we have two options. We can continue making motions, or we can go into closed section and consult with legal, and you guys are where to go on.
Okay.
In closed session. Does someone want to make a motion?
Well, let me wait. Can I ask a question? And
Yes,
can you vote for that in the closed session?
no,
You can't vote.
no, we can get advice from our legal. If anyone has any questions they'd like to ask legal, we can do that. And then come back out here and vote. Make a motion and vote.
Are we allowed to re-vote on the?
You're allowed to make a motion.
Okay. I make a motion that we go with option C.
Option C.
I second.
Every second. Okay, we have a motion for option C and a second. Florinda Bernal,
Yes.
Pete Bernal,
No.
Dr. Byram,
Yes.
Yolanda Garza Lopez,
No.
Ida Sodolkin,
Yes.
James Sullivan.
Yes.
That motion passes. We have option C that has passed, which will be a joint election with Lidl plus additional sites. Now, at this time, what I'd like to do is open the floor for discussion on which additional sites we would like. 2, 3, and what areas, so we can give direction to our administration. And what I would recommend right now is to come up with areas, because, if we can find an area without having to use a campus, that would be great.
Yeah, we're taking recommendations on that.
Yes, I believe that's not a posted item, Mr. President, but I believe what we will do is take the recommendations that we hear from the board, let us meet with who we're going to contract with, and then bring that information back to the board.
And by when do we have to make a decision on location?
Well, I need to talk to Dirk County, we'll contract with them, and there's logistics involved and how many people they can get us already going,
Okay.
and how many sites they actually can come up with and allow that.
Okay, at this time, would anybody like to have a comment as far as a recommendation on sites or the amount of sites?
Yes, I believe it was 72 days prior to the election, you had to call the election. But I believe we're still within the time frame if we're allowed to meet with the folks from Bear County who we're going to contract with, who has the machines. And I think what I hear from the board, if we can pick facilities that represent populated areas in our district that don't interrupt our schools, would be a first option to kind of look at and bring those items back. But I think we need to have some conversation with those folks so that we can have an idea what they're willing to do. I mean,
Okay.
I think we were looking for some direction tonight from the collective board. And I think we received that direction tonight. Now we have kind of work that we need to do to bring you back really viable information. I hate for you guys to tell us to do X, Y, and Z, and we can only do L and N. So I'd like to be able to list it as an item tonight. I think at the February brown bag, we're still within the time frame to bring that
And I
information.
know in my humble opinion that we need one definitely in the Indian Creek, Sky Harbor area. We definitely need one in the Big Country Kriwalt area. And then
There's the Bob area.
somewhere in between, that's what I'm feeling.
So as election goes on, even in November, Bear County added sites throughout, so we can add sites. This is working with them. They're the ones that contract the services, the workers, so they get enough workers for ours, and also us finding sites that are, just so everybody knows, during the election day, we actually shut the campuses down to have the election on the campuses because they asked for big areas because they're gonna have long lines, and so they're gonna need cafeterias. So we're gonna work really hard to find places where they can go into, because, for early voting, they'll be there during the school day. Where on the May 1st date, that would be a Saturday where no one would be there. So we're gonna have to really work hard with them and coordinate where we can actually have the sites. And then they're gonna have to let us know if they can actually man the sites. So those are the things that we'll have to work out with them as we look into that additional early voting sites. So if the board wants us to go with 4, try to find 4, we'll work that way. And if we can get all 4, we'll get all 4. If not, get what our county can get us and what sites we have available to us.
And our priority would be not to have them on the campus if we can work that out.
Correct. Okay. Think on that. Consider approve, okay, before we go on to item D, I just want to take a point of privilege and say thank you to the fellow board members for speaking out your opinion. And I do ask that we support what was decided here today in the best way we can. Thank you. Item D, consider approval of change order number 1 for Southwest Pony and Southwest Legacy practice field lighting.
Mr. Vasquez, B was the joint election, but C is actually to contract our county and approve the equipment they're going to use. So either way, whatever joint election we're going to do, we still need a contract with Bear County. And so.
Now, should this item be tabled until we get further information as to how many sites we're going to ask for? Or can you go?
We want to get a contract with them so that we can start negotiating sites.
Okay.
So, but before we, so this one is important to
So
get.
then we need a motion to contract with Bear County for the election on May 1st. Is there a motion?
I move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to contract with Bear County Elections Department for the voting equipment and use to conduct a May 1st trustee election. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Nay.
One nay. Okay, consider approval of change order number 1 for Southwest Pony League, Southwest Legacy practice field lighting.
Yes, sir. We're bringing this change order number 1 to the board tonight for the Southwest Pony Field and Legacy. During construction, when we had finished, or the contractor had finished at the Pony League fields, everything was done. They moved to the Legacy site. We drilled the first hole, poured the concrete. The second hole, they drilled it. And in the process of setting it up to be poured, the hole collapsed due to groundwater or unsettled conditions. So in the process with them, what we came up with is the only way to remedy the situation. We had to fill the hole back in, pack it, drill a new hole, sleeve that hole with a metal casing, and then pour the concrete to make sure that it didn't slough off and cause more problems down the line. So this all happened during the Christmas holiday timeframe. So because they were already on site and we didn't want to have to get more charges to have remobilization, we went ahead and had them do the work. But this is change order number 1 to fix the unforeseen conditions with the last pier that was drilled. Southwest ISD staff prepared change order number 1 for the rework in the amount of $7,720.36. That will be funded by the general fund in the same location that the original Pony League contract came out of. So our recommendation to the board to approve change order number 1 to Queenie Electric in the amount of $7,720.36.
I move.
I second.
We have a motion, a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Consider and take possible action on the resolution improving the sale of some acreage.
Yes, sir. So the next item, Bear County District 2 Fire and Rescue approached Southwest ISD about acquiring some district property commonly known as 2255 Skull Valley Drive, which is at the corner of Bear Springs. The property that they're buying is, or requesting to buy, is actually at the corner of Bear Springs and Marbach Road. Skull Valley is where the property gets its address from. So it's in between Big Country and Scobee, pretty much right across the exit from Scobee's main parking lot. There's the 3.58 acres that they are looking for. Bear County Fire District 2 and staff negotiated final sales in the amount of $554,736 for the 3.58 acres of land. District Legal Counsel has created the resolution authorizing execution of the real estate sales contract and delegating authority to complete this transaction. So that in going into this, the reason they're wanting to move with this change at 1604, where they're asking for this location, and improves their times by 8 minutes to the Big Country side of 1604 and does not affect the response time to the outside of 1604 based on the way the traffic flows now with the additions to 1604. So it is Southwest ISD staff recommendation to approve the sale of the 3.58 acres of land for the value of $554,736.
I move.
There's a motion, and a second.
Hang on, I have the
Questions?
motion.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
There's the
Yeah.
legal has an
okay.
actual motion we have to read for the resolution.
I was waiting for you to say, is there a motion?
Okay.
I move that the board adopt a resolution approving the sale of a 3.580 acre tract out of lot 185, block 12 of the Big Country subdivision, unit 14, San Antonio, Bexar County, Texas, commonly known as 2255 Skull Valley Drive, to the Bexar County Emergency Service District, number 2, under the authority and terms set out in Texas Local Government Code, section 272.001, authorizing the superintendent to complete negotiation of and execute the real estate sales contract in the form approved by council of the district, authorizing the board president to execute a deed to the property and any other documents required to complete the transaction, and instructing the board secretary to attach a copy of the executed resolution adopted to the official minutes of this meeting.
I second.
We have a motion, and a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. I heard your aye, Keith. Motion passes. Motion passes. Okay. Consider approval of RFP 2021-106 for E-rate 24.
Yes, sir. Tonight with us, we have Jeff Gall. He's online. He's going to present this item. Go ahead, Jeff.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, great. We're coming to the board tonight requesting to replace some equipment that's been in our network operations center for at least 12 years now. It predates me when I started with the district. And what we would be replacing are the routers and switches that connect our schools and staff to our servers, to the internet, and to each other. The benefits of the newer equipment, the main benefit is that it'll allow for faster connection speeds as we grow and as the schools require more bandwidth. Some other benefits is that the new equipment runs more efficiently. It's a lot smaller, it takes up space. So it'll free up some space for growth in our NOC, and also use less power and require less cooling to operate. We put an RFP out, and the only company that bid was Computer Solutions. We've worked with them multiple times in the past. They've always done a really good job for us. And the bid they submitted was close to half the list price of the equipment. And with E-rate, this equipment is eligible for an 85% reimbursement. So we're asking the board approve Computer Solutions as the awarded vendor for RFP 2021-106 for E-rate 24.
I move.
A second.
We have a motion, and a second on the E-rate. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Curriculum and instruction, change order number 1 for communities and schools. Who's got that?
Yes, sir. We have an opportunity to extend or expand our community and school partnership. I'd like to turn over to Ms. Garcia, who's going to introduce that topic to the board.
Thank you, Dr. work. So we do have been, like, going along with, we too have been working on this specific opportunity for our district.
Hi, good evening, Board President, Dr. Versta, board members, and senior staff. So we have both Southwest Legacy and Southwest High School who are benefiting from the services of CIS. So CASTEM High School was afforded an opportunity to be included in the contract. So we are asking tonight approval for CASTEM High School to be included in the contract and increase the contract by $17,500 to bring it to a total of $110,500 for our CASTEM students. Do we have any questions from our board members?
So community schools works with first-generation college-seeking students and families, introduces them to colleges, get them out, of course, during regular times. But they still do some really great things virtually. It's to help frame the minds of our youth. It may be in some of our youth the only time they hear that message about going to higher education versus going to the workforce. We've had a really great, strong partnership. Really excited that our former councilman, Ray Saldana, is CIS National Executive Director, and always a really great extension of service to our kids. And we have it at both of our other comprehensive high schools. And we really, as our students rise to the 11th grade juniors this year, and will be seniors next year, we really want to expand it and give them the same opportunity to work with our families and students. Money well spent for our kids, I believe.
Board members, questions, comments? Hearing none, I'm looking for a motion.
Second.
A motion and second, the board approve change order number 1 for communities and schools of San Antonio contract 2021 through 2025. All that approved, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, consider approval of CTE course web design. Is that you?
Yeah, so we do have a course that has been eliminated by TA. And so this course, I'm not gonna see my arm, but this course was a course that was eliminated. And so through some auditing that we're doing at CASTEM, we are looking at this course will be offered in the second semester. It will also be a course that will be offering district-wide. So it is our web design course. So we asking for opinion.
Board members, any questions or comments?
I move.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Dr. Burke, thank you. That's all we had, right? Okay. Dr. Versta?
I do have some more things after our closed session. I'll
After
go
our
through
closed
some
session.
important dates, I think, this week.
Okay.
And next, I'd like to go over with our trustees. But I think we're fine to go into our closed session. Thank you for the demonstration of democracy. So, that's all I have.
Okay.
Oh, Odelia?
Regina's trying to, she wanted to say a few words.
Oh, there's
Odelia, there you are.
Let's see if it'll, if not, I can get her on her.
So everyone, this is Miss Odelia Martinez. As we talked about earlier, she is retiring effective January 29th, and just a tremendous individual, tremendous campus leader. She's a tremendous teacher. And so, Odelia, we hope that we have some form of employee banquet we get to really celebrate with you face to face. But tonight you're here virtually. And if you'd like to share a few words, we always love to hear from you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I was talking a while ago. I just couldn't get through for some reason. So I'm on the phone. Just wanted to let y'all know that I am very humbled and honored that you recognize me tonight. And I want to thank you for all of that. And I don't have words enough to thank, like I already had said, Southwest for everything that Southwest has done for me throughout the years. I could never have worked for any other district. And I want to thank the board, all the leaders, and thank you so much, Dr. Versta, for always giving me an opportunity to grow. And Southwest is the best district I can tell you that for many people that I've spoken to. And I don't think there's another district as family oriented and as great as Southwest. So I want to thank you and thank you for this opportunity for me to be able to talk at the end of the meeting.
We appreciate you so much, and I'm sure, I don't have to speak on behalf of the board. They do very well speaking on their own, so I don't know if they want to share
Ms.
any
Martinez,
comments.
thank you. This is Sylvester Vasquez, and thank you for choosing to do your growth here at Southwest. You're already missed. Thank you so much for all you've done for our children primarily. And we hope you enjoy your retirement.
Thank you so much, and I'll stick around. So,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you, Adelia. Congratulations.
Thank you. You have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay, we ready to go? Okay, as permitted by sections 551.001-551.146 of the Texas Government Code. Pursuant to Government Code 551.04, and discussion of personnel employment, resignations, reassignments, legal absence, contract renewals, and in accordance with Texas Government on 551.072, deliberation regarding real property, we now go into closed session at 7:43. Meeting comes back into order after closed session at 8:15. Entertaining a motion on personnel.
I move all recommendations made by the superintendent.
You approved? We have a motion.
I second.
We have a second. Any just, no, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Dr. Versta, your few more items.
Yes, sir. Would like to announce that tomorrow, January 20th, at 5 p.m. is going to be the drive-by parade honoring Ms. Martinez, Odelia Martinez, who we recognized earlier tonight. So I know some of you had expressed interest in participating. 5 p.m. in front of Resnick Middle School. Like everyone, or another reminder to mark their calendars for January 29th at 11:30 a.m. That is going to be the official groundbreaking ceremony right next to McCullough for the Aquatic Center.
Do we just park in front or somewhere? Is there a certain place you need us to park?
Yes,
Or
we're gonna provide you everything. Selena's really been working really hard at this, and they have a really great plan. There's gonna be parking, and you're gonna pull into, they're gonna create some base so that we can get in and out.
Okay.
We're gonna keep the crowd down. It's not gonna be a big crowd of it. We're gonna social distance. We're bringing our trustees and some of our partners, the architect, contractor, our auditorium expert. But we don't expect to go beyond 20 people.
Can you invite Mac? Can Mac, Mac attend?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
And,
Well, just another reminder.
The 29th.
What time?
11:30.
Send you guys the plans, so you kind of have to run the show. I know I'll speak with Matt Vasquez to say a few words. We have a high school female swimmer and a high school male swimmer who are also going to share a few words about what it means to have that facility and being in that sport. And so we have a shovel and a hard hat for you, and so we're going to ask you to go through the picture opportunity photo op, turning the dirt. And even though there's bulldozers doing a lot of dirt already, this just kind of officializes that opportunity that we're here. We've been trying to get here for 30 years, and we're breaking ground officially. So it'll be really good for us. We're a press release, and just want to commend Selena. She's really put a lot of effort in planning around it. And so it's not going to be one of those events. We don't know what's going on. Everyone's going to have their name on a shovel and the location, and it's going to be 6 feet apart from the other person, and so it's going to work out really well. So we ask you to be there January 29th, January 27th, from 5:30 to 8:30. We're doing our Team of 8 training right here in this room. And we do have confirmed Dr. Yeagan, former superintendent, and an exceptional human being.
Was that 2 days?
Yeah.
2 days or?
Yes, and January 28th, 27th and 28th. The full 3 hours on the 27th will be Team of 8 training. On the 28th, it'll be 2 hours of Team of 8, and then the last hour we'll spend with our attorney, Mr. Decker, to kind of go over just some, whatever questions the board may have or issues, and just some legal fundamentals, I think, that are good for all of us to kind of read here over time. And so if there's anything in the legal realm that you guys would like, when I talk to him to kind of frame out his 1 hour presentation, go quickly for that.
What about like a short legislative update to see if he's heard anything?
Yeah, I'll ask him to do that. I know there's like probably 600-700 bills filed already. So I'll ask them to kind of pull out the main things and just kind of go through that with us so we have an idea. I can also provide you guys the Bear County Education Coalition, our legislative priorities that we're forwarding to all of our state leaders and to the governor, lieutenant governor, and I'll provide that evening as well. So we can kind of go through that.
And are we still having brown bag February 2nd? Brown bag?
Brown bag February 2nd, first Tuesday in February, yes, sir.
No, see
Are
about
we
it.
having media at another time?
We're doing a press release, and we think they're gonna show up. We have on our, we'll be streaming it on our social accounts too, so it'll be available to YouTube, Facebook.
Wear your comfy shoes, baby, comfy shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all our one more thing, so we'll have a busy week next week. Also like to ask everyone to keep in your prayers the 400,000 people who have passed away from COVID related. I know it's a horrible landmark to reach, but you know, we take care of our backyard, but we also need to have a national win. So just ask everyone to please keep them in your hearts and prayers.
That's the national number? That's the national number?
Yeah.
400,000?
I'm sorry. Yeah, y'all's mask, I don't know. My hard of hearing of your mask.
We've been having deaths here in San Antonio every day, and also it's really sad.
Yeah, they set the record yesterday again, which is horrible. You know, just ask everyone to remain safe and vigilant. You know, there's it's going to be really far down the road. The conversations I'm in locally with kind of health experts and medical is I'm not even expecting a pediatric vaccine until 2022. So, you know, it's not going to be over soon. There's a long road to recovery.
You have to stay safe, yeah.
If you're looking to get the vaccine, I did WellMed. I made 169 calls before I got in. But once you get in, they let you sign up to 4. So if you have that person's name, DOB, and it's got to match their ID and address, you can sign them up. I signed up myself, Maria, and my mom, because I knew her deal. I wish I'd have known my mother-in-law's, but I didn't know it. And I had an 8 o'clock appointment Monday morning. 8:25, I was out of there. They run it really well. I mean, my arm's still sore. That's the only thing. I mean, no dizzy spells or nausea or nothing. It's just soreness.
Does it have to be an age for the phase 2?
Well, right now, you're still in 1A, 1B. 1B is 16 and above if you have another issue. For example, liver cancer in my wife, heart disease, or 65 and above covers everything. Okay, any other comments? If not, we're going to close this meeting.
Soccer state.
Oh, yeah. That's a tough one. 8:23, this meeting is closed.